Welcome back to Sweat, Sauna and Stories, episode 9. Today's a little bit different because today is the season finale, which means this is the end of season 1. It's done, it's in the can, you've witnessed it, you've commented on it, you give us feedback, it's been phenomenal. Today's a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a bit of a roundup of some of the guests and where they are now and what they're doing, because there's on to some amazing things. I'm going to be sat down and talk to you about 4 key things: parenting, business, Mission Possible, the fitness journey right now, and number 4, Andy's Man Club. And I might have a little bit of a twist on that one for you. So as usual, I'm going to get in the sauna, have a bit of a sweat, then we're going to tell you some stories. Let's go. Today, because I'm the guest, I get to do the tradition of the water. I'm going to lock it in. Now, give me 10 minutes till I've heated up. So, where do we start? This is a very unique one for me to do because, as you can see, there's no guest, it's just me, myself and I. And I want to do this because at the end, I will be bringing a little bit of a twist. So you'll see that when that comes. But I wanted to start off with a bit of a roundup. I want to show appreciation to everyone who came on and shared their story. There's people who've told their story for the very first time, and there's other people who are a little bit more experienced in that. The guinea pig, we'll call him Johnny, and that's not because he looks like a guinea pig. It's because he was the guinea pig. It were only on the Monday night that we had the idea to do this whole thing, Sweat, Sauna Stories. And Johnny stepped up like the man he is, as my comrade on Mission Possible, to give it a try and see what we're like, and for him to share his story. I know that were probably a bit of a mission possible for him. So I think we'll all take lots of inspiration at Johnny's story, and to see him in the thick of it now in his training plan for Mission Possible, it's going to be exciting and frightening what sort of numbers he puts out across these 5 UK Ironman, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. So I'm really appreciative of him and the bar he's setting in terms of his numbers and his consistency in what he's putting out. And then I wanted to pick up on 2 other people to start with, which is Alfie and Aubrey. And there's a bit of a story in Alfie, because Alfie's very much like me, he's all in on stuff, and sometimes, as I said, but at 99% of the time, what a phenomenal young man. His standards are exemplary. And I think what's a really interesting story about Alfie is last year he started out running, and because he just started, he probably put himself decent at school, but actually in reality he wasn't very good, and he got entered into the inter-schools competition just in Halifax, and he came 36th out of the whole group, which wasn't very good, although it were good. That were in the February. By the October or November he'd got to go again, but this time to represent his year and the year above, which is then he came 10th, and you only had to come top 15 to qualify for the regionals, which were a phenomenal turnaround. But we knew that going to that next level then, which were just Saturday gone, that it was going to be a step up and it was going to be hard work. But all credit to him, he's muscled in, he's worked hard, he's gone out with the boys on a Tuesday, and if anyone knows about our Tempo Tuesday runs, there's some serious monsters in there, like Lee Tuck, who you've had on the podcast, like Johnny, some serious animals. And Alfie's been turning up and he's put himself amongst them, but going to this regionals when you would be up against some proper animals. And he set off, and it looked like he was going to be where we thought he'd be, no disrespect to him, mid to backpack, and he ends up pulling off a top 3rd finish. He came 20th out of 60, which is phenomenal, and it's just give him that extra drive now just to keep pushing forward. And then that rubs on, doesn't it, and knocks on, because if you watch the episode with Aubrey, you'd have seen Aubrey talking about role models and how she looks up to her brother. And I think what's really interesting is that everyone needs a role model. Everyone needs multiple role models in different areas of their life. And I think what were beautiful is that Aubrey's watched Alfie go from someone who's had to work extremely hard, and where he's starting to get these accolades now, or these improvements now, and hearing what people say about him and how he carries himself and the dedication he's got and the way that he talks about himself and what his goals and aspirations are, that rubs off on her. And we're not a push family, we're a pull family, which means we don't push our kids into doing anything. If they don't want to do it, don't do it unless they've said they're going to do it. For example, if they said that today I'm running a 10k, and they get to that 10k or that 5k or that gymnastics tournament or whatever it is they're doing, once they're on the start line, they finish. Even my 5-year-old, 6-year-old Ada, we have this rule in our house that once we start something, we do not quit, no matter the cost. We see things through, even if it takes us all day. So Ada, or Aubrey even, is really interesting because she's watched Alfie do that. She knows about the plans he's on, and She's now dialed in. She obviously came first. She's coming from a different angle to him. She came first in cross country for the town by a sizable effort, and we knew that it's going to be a challenge. But every week now, she's turned up at the kids' park run. She's putting in the numbers, and then last night we put her a plan together. She asked me to put her a plan together, and there was a 3K steady run on plan, but it had to be on grass so she can practice cross country. It was pitch black outside. We went down to a local park near us. She torched up and she was running around on this field. Obviously we were a little bit scared to keep jogging around it cross pitch, making sure she was all right. But she just went out there and got it done. And I'm excited now to see the progression. Why am I telling you this? It's not to brag about my kids. It's that everyone has a different starting point and everyone's going to have a different finishing point. But the bit in the middle, the bridge, which is the work that needs to be done to get where you want to be, that's relatable to us all. If we all sat and had a moment of reflection and looked at where we are we a front of pack person right now? Are we a back of pack person? Are we in mid pack? And this might be in your career, in your business. It could be in anything that you try to achieve in your fitness journey. And it don't have to be against other people. It might be where you know you are. The question then is what work are you putting in today to give yourself the best chance of a better future tomorrow? And now that's where I want to roll into the next guest, which is Joe Craven. Joe Craven, if you remember, is a guy who went down to his local Thai boxing club. He went down there at a young age, got into it. He then became a world champion. And the next step for him then was to defend that world championship, which is when he got the beating, he broke his ribs, and he got TKO'd, and it ruined him. And he elaborated it a little bit on the podcast. But I was around Joe again this morning because we've got a real good group and we're out running, and he's dialed in. I've seen a different shift in him, and now I'm excited to see where he comes, because that's where he was on the canvas with some broken ribs, and where he wants to be. He's back as a world champion, and the next step to get that is getting him a fight under his belt. So he's fighting under his mentors, on his mentor's card, who's having his last ever fight. Liam Harrison, who's a legend of that game, who we spoke highly about in his podcast. He's fighting on his undercard and in the 4-ounce gloves for a first time ever for Joe. So it'll be exciting to see where he ends up being, and if he wins, where he goes on to, and if he doesn't get the spoils, what's the mindset now that he's developed to be able to continue to overcome? Because let's be honest, we're not always all going to win in life. We're going to have setbacks, we're going to have losses, we're going to have the shit kicked out of us by life at times. But the ultimate thing that I am really passionate about is how we respond to the shit getting kicked out of us that really matters. That's ultimately. And speaking of shit getting kicked out, I can't not mention Luke, the Hitman Dyson. I don't even think that's his name, but he's blown up in a multitude of ways, hasn't he? From his fighting to his social media presence, and he was a great character to have on here. And also, that's someone from a completely different background, drugs and drink, and even if his legacy now is the man he's going to become, the father he can become, the husband he can become, while also inspiring other people from a similar background to him to be better. What an inspiration. And I don't want to forget anyone today, because I've had some phenomenal guests. You had Lee Tuck last week, who had the highs and lows of professional football and the lessons in which he's had, and I spoke about the 3 pillars of him, which was gratitude, and these are 3 things I want everyone to understand today. When you're going through your ebb and flow of life, and this isn't about guests now, this is about you listening. When you're going through your ebb and flow in life, show gratitude, or find gratitude in each and every day, even when it's some of the most hardest things to find. Find the simple little things. It might be the way that the sun's glaring that day. It might be the way that your kids look to you. It might be a text that you got. And if you haven't had that things, find those things. When we look for what we can be grateful for, we attract way more to be grateful about to us life. The other thing is have a underdog mindset, which is that you're willing to work for what you want. Because when you're willing to work for what you want, the successes and spoils will come. And the 3rd pillar of Lee Tuck, which is that will to win, that want to win. Whatever winning is to you. Winning don't mean coming first place all the time. Winning could be for you right now who's listening, getting yourself out of bed tomorrow, going and accessing help or support for maybe a problem you've got in your life, doing what Luke Dyson's done and coming off the drugs or the drink, like Johnny, changing his lifestyle, stopping drinking. There's what Alfie was, which is, his win might be just that I used to have a place comes his top 20, but from where he started to where he is, that is a win. And we all can find wins in each every day if you put in that little bit of effort. And I want to just touch on 2 more people. James, phenomenal guy, actor from Hollyoaks and Emmerdale, and what I love about him is another person who's had his mental struggles and continues to have his mental struggles, and he used a saying which I thought was beautiful, I am a work in progress. I think if we ever get to a point where we think we're the completed article, that probably in itself is a failure. None of us are ever the completed article. None of us are ever perfect. None of us are ever at the final finished product, because life is always changing. We're always changing. We're having kids, we're starting businesses, we're getting new jobs, and with all that comes a multitude of different emotions and feelings, and there needs to be someone else. So I think being a work in progress is a great one. And last but not least, Iron Man Daniel. I think everyone will agree. We had lots of good feedback on Iron Man Daniel and on the character he is. Another person who's had a setback and had some real shit in his life, but found running and ran into his problems rather than running away from his problems. And I think that's a big lesson for everyone. How often do we want to put his problems under a rug and hope that mum will take them away? But that's not how life works, is it? Ultimately, what we've got to do is we've got to run head on into his problems. And sometimes we're going to take a load of shots, but it's about getting back up, like Luke Dyson does, like Joe Craven does. Getting yourself back up, dusting yourself back off, and living to fight another day. So you can follow some of these people. You'll have seen all their tags and shares from things, but there's a few of them who are on little journeys now, which I think are really important to highlight. Johnny's going to be doing all 5 UK Ironman with myself, so make sure you track us on them journeys. Aubrey's got a regional finals coming up. We'll see how she does in that, plus some CrossFit comps. We've got Ironman Daniel. He's on a flight right now as recording this to Saudi Arabia to compete in Oman, Ironman 70.3. I'm excited to see how he does, because I know with the dog mindset that he's got, I know how hungry he is. Chatted to him last night, he's ready to go and get that. And Joe Craven's going to be going for his next fight. He's coming back in his comeback fight. So lots to track on them people and their journeys. There'll be lots of inspiration to get from their highs and lows, wins and losses. And really, is there ever such thing as a loss? It's wins and lessons in it. Hopefully you've took lots of wins and lessons from lots of people along this journey. And now I want to delve a little bit deeper. We always talk about delving deeper on a few bits and areas of my life. So on one of the podcasts, I was asked a question about when are you most comfortable, or when are you most yourself? And I said we have many selves. And I want to talk to you about the different Luke Campbells. I don't want to speak about myself in third person there, because that seems real pretentious, but I just think it'll give you a good perception of some of the different Luke Campbells. The first Luke Campbell is Luke Campbell, the dad. And I'm not going to go too much about this, because I've talked about this a lot, even in the intro to this. But I think for me, being a dad is something I'm extremely passionate about, something I'm constantly trying to learn about. And I think as parents, we put ourselves under pressure, and rightly so at times. We put ourselves under pressure to try and be the best parent we can be. Problem with parenting is you don't know you've got it wrong until maybe you've got it wrong. And it's just about trying to develop those good habits without forcing them. You know, it's about trying to push them into stuff or pull them into stuff without breaking them. And it's a constant flow or a constant change, you know, in different kids. I've got 3 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, or 2 girls in all of different ages, all into different things. But I think when you set the tone of the habits that you have around your own home, the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you are as a leader, as a parent, that can rub off onto them both positively and negatively. And I think kids don't necessarily do what they say, they do what they see. And I think for any parent out there, it's focus more on what are you doing that they're seeing rather than what you're saying that they're not hearing. And I hope that makes sense to everyone. I think that's a really big one for a lot of us to constantly bring in. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be real vulnerable on a lot of things here. I don't always get it right. I get it wrong a lot of the time, which is why I do classroom with my son, which is why, sometimes I challenge myself, was I the best dad I could be today? And the answer's not always yes. But what we all need to do when we talk about parenting here or anything is constantly challenge yourself to be better, to accept that we're going to get it wrong. Not beat yourself up too much, but at the same time hold yourself accountable. It's not about beating yourself down, it's about pulling yourself up to be the person that we need to be to lead that family, to lead them. And as I said, I don't always get it right, but I'm always working on it. And I'm always working on to give my kids the best opportunity possible. In Aubrey's episode, she mentioned about that some people might think I'm strict because of there's certain foods that we don't want to have in our house, because why would kids only have access to what you let them have access to? Whether that's technology, social media, whether it be the food they eat, whether it be the people you surround yourself with, whether it be the habits that you have. Kids are surrounded by what you allow them to until they get to a certain age. So why not surround them with the best possible opportunities, regardless of what they're going to be perceived or not perceived at school? So, because ultimately you want them to exceed and thrive and and hopefully do well in the world. So, and that's all I'm trying to do as a parent. I'm constantly trying to, is the environment I'm setting the right environment for them to thrive in? Because ultimately, I think the North Star for all our kids is that we want them to thrive. We don't want them just to survive and cope and get by in life. We want them to thrive and go and exceed and do everything that they truly want to do, because life's too short in it not to. Second one is Luke, the businessman, which most people don't know. I'm often known as Luke, the Andy's Man Club guy, which I will touch on. But Luke, the businessman, I have a few different businesses. I've been an entrepreneur since I was about 6-year-old, when I first went to Wilkinson's. Some of you won't even remember Wilkinson's. And I bought a little gardener's belt. And I used to go around and knock on 3 doors up, I think I were allowed, and I might have been 6 doors up, 6 doors down. I'd go knock on all my neighbours' doors, and they'd give me 50p to dig up some weeds, or 50p to go to the shop and get the paper. And I was known as Luke the Handyman. I had little business cards already at 8-year-old, and I've always, in it, we're at school, I'd sell stuff, and as I progressed through rugby, I always had a little side hustle, and I always have. And then I found the world of speaking and storytelling, and I've been doing that for over a decade now, and that's been one of the craziest journeys. And without going into too much detail, we might pick up on this on another time. The speaking journey has been a phenomenal one. For those that don't know how I got into speaking, I used to be business development manager alongside playing professional rugby for Halifax. And I once went and met a local organisation called Upbeat, it was called then. And Upbeat was about getting kids healthy. But we were there because we were going to partner up with them to get into more schools as a rugby club, to try and get more kids into watching our games and coming to our games and being involved with rugby. And the first question I said to the lady who were down there, a great lady, I says, what do you do as a charity? She went, we help get inactive kids active. And I said, for a bit of fun, I bet you've never had a kid as big as me on your programme. And she went, oh, we will have. And so I showed her a photo. She went, no, we hadn't. She went, would you ever come and tell your story to the kids about how you've gone from being this big kid to finding sport and then playing professional rugby? I said, yeah, of course I would. And there's a lot more in there. So I went to my first ever talk and I did it, and I told these kids how this kid from a single parent background, my mum had a car crash from her 8-year-old, leaving her with a condition called NEED, where she has drop attacks, to the impact that had on me, and comfort eating, and how I use food as a masking tool to sort of where I feel good, to then getting into rugby, but how rugby then became my escape rather than needing that crux of, say, food. And for some people it's drugs. It was my escape to go and express myself. And everyone needs something, don't they, to express themselves, whether it be triathlon, whether it be darts, whether it be going for a coffee with your friends or doing some art, whatever it is, sitting in a sauna. But rugby for me at 8 years old was a place where I could go as that fat kid, aka Tank, or Rhinos they used to call me, bowl people out of the way, and what was a flaw at school was my strength at that point. And my dad then saw what sort of benefits sport were having, and he got me into, he used to drop me and my brother down at swimming on a Monday night. We had to go and do lengths, so he sort of instilled a lot of beliefs in us, I guess, to put in that work to then, what I wanted to do was be a professional rugby player. And that's what I went and started talking to these kids about, how you can be somewhere right now, but develop the right habits to go on and be anything you want to be. But you have to have the mindset, you have to break through the aspirational jail that we get put in, don't we? Because a lot of us have aspirational jails. If you don't know what that means, it means that we get a ceiling put on us, and it becomes a jail about what we are or not capable of. And as I said, I was a kid from a single parent background, got brought up by my dad, but started a great relationship with my mum. And I want the most talented. You could reference me to being like Alfie. I want the most talented. I've got a funny running technique. I want the best tackler. I couldn't catch the ball as well as other people. I couldn't think, but one thing that I was willing to do was fucking outwork everybody, and that's what I did. Christmas morning, New Year's morning, I didn't touch a drop of alcohol till I was 18. I've never done any drugs. I've never smoked, and that's why I could get other people on who can relate to you who are listening on that, because I can't relate to that because I've never done that. I've always lived quite a very clean life in that sense, but I always had this unfathomable, if you want to use that word, desire just to prove people wrong. And when people said that I couldn't be a professional rugby player, I had to show people that I could, which will lead on to other stuff. So when then I started speaking, I'd put this aspirational ceiling on myself at this first talk for these kids. They're like, who's going to want to hear my story? Who's going to want to hear what I'm about? So then I realised that storytelling itself isn't about the story you're telling, but how you tell the story and make it relatable. So then I realised that storytelling is an art form, and I've spent probably the last 20 years trying to understand it better, trying to understand human beings. So I've studied NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, I've studied CBT, lots of different psychological and philosophies from different eras and periods in time, just to try and take different people's stories and analogies and theories and wrap it up in real, normal stories of my kid shitting on floor, or my having a fallout with my partner and a breakup, or whatever it may be, and how you can wrap these theories in. So my first business, therefore, is speaking, and Ambler Training now has been around 11, 12 years. Who we spoke in hundreds of schools, and now run our BU Schools program, which is a side business of Ambler Training, or a side project. And then spoke in 58 different prisons, which is an whole podcast on its own. From speaking to our country, going in originally to speak to vulnerable prisoners and helping them with their mental health through Ambler Training, to then going and working with our country's most violent gang members in London, to people who are in segregation units, so people who weren't allowed out on normal wings, and I'm sat in walking around a segregation unit with someone who should be on a 1-2 man unlock, and I'm walking around with him and I'm giving him tips and tools and strategies on how to deal with his anger and deal with those stresses of life instead of causing violence. And the successes that I had in prison were astronomical. If it weren't for COVID, we'd still be delivering in probably all 100 prisons now, because when COVID happened, it shut it down. I've been back in prisons, we've been back in prisons, and there's lots of prison programs incoming. But that were a great time to learn about different people and the extreme emotions of life and negatives for some people. I've delivered to corporate organisations as big as companies like Lloyd's, to you name it, big blue chip companies, and it's been a phenomenal journey from this kid from this single parent background to have the privilege, or the honour, I call it. It's humbling to be invited to go and speak at these events. Just in a couple of weeks I've got NHS Leaders Conference, just to name one of a few. Constantly looking at this, and we now deliver programmes for the Home Office and the Ministry of Defence, and we have 6 of us who go out every single week delivering on programmes which I can't disclose on here, but it's been a phenomenal journey. And then we have the aesthetics clinic, which my partner owns and runs, for skin and all aesthetic treatment, and then we have the journals, and it's been an interesting. I have very weird and wacky philosophies about business. I am of an opinion, and Charlotte, who started working for me recently, said I've never worked anywhere where it's not about money. I don't get it. I said my theory on businesses is value first, service first, and everything else comes. And I found that over the years is that if someone wants X, we will always over-deliver. And by over-delivering, whether it be through a talk, through a workshop, through a program, through building them an online program so that they can deliver it within their organisation, by over-delivering, it increases your value. So people will pay you more. There's a famous saying, isn't there? Those who do more than they're paid will always get paid for more than they do. And right now you might be sat thinking you do more in your job than you're paid, but ask yourself, is that of value to the company? What you're doing in your business now, is it of value to the business, which increases your value? And when you do that, you'll see the spoils come. But don't do it focused on the money or the accolades. Do it focused on the service and the value that you're giving. And when you have a give mindset, you'll receive as a byproduct. But you've got to have it as a true mentality to give first, and the receiving will come. Don't even think about the receiving, and it will come. But obviously in the meantime, don't have the piss taken out of you, which sometimes my partner thinks that I am too generous. But I always think that karma has a weird way of working things out, and I feel very blessed for all the opportunities that I've had. Now we'll talk about the fitness journey, where we're at. Going really well. I've just done an 8k run this morning into a 2k swim. The Mission Possible journey is on the upward trajectory. I've done 2-week block, and then I've gone into a testing week, and I want to be honest about the testing week. The testing week, I were awful on the bike. My FTP had dropped, and I'm telling you this because I think a lot of times when it comes to fitness, what we do in fitness is we post as wins, we post as successes. I've got a PB this week, I've just smashed an IROX this week, I've just done a PB bench. I had a fucking awful testing week. Awful testing week. My swim were dog shit. My bike were dog shit. The minute I started on bike, I had no power in my legs. That could have been for a multitude of reasons, but it was shit. And when I got off the bike, I thought, I want to tell people this. So I took to my social media, not to glamorize anything, just to say to people, we're not always where we think we are, and where we are is a result of the work that we've done. Where we're not is a result of the work that we haven't done. I haven't been on a bike or swam for nearly 2 years, and there I'm expecting to swim like Michael Phelps and cycle like Lance Armstrong. Maybe not Lance Armstrong, because I'm not willing to, but let's not get into that. But, there's lots of other good cyclists we could mention. But where I was, and then I turned up on the Friday, got the running shoes on, went for my run test, and I were ahead of where I thought. And that's where we're at sometimes. I'm now 9 weeks away from a marathon. I've got a lot of work to do. I'm willing to do that work, and I think the spoils will come as a result of that work. And then we've got the 5 UK Ironmen, which, if you could just imagine yourself now, as Ironman Daniel said, doing a 2.4 mile swim in an ocean or a lake. The lakes usually aren't very nice, and the ocean, as you can imagine, swimming in an ocean, lots of things underneath you. An 112 mile bike ride, usually a very hilly bike ride, and then finishing with a fucking marathon just for the shits and giggles. 2 of them and 3 halves of them, plus lots of running events along the way. It's going to be tough. But one thing I'm looking forward to training is I've took my old man for his 60th birthday. We're going to Tenerife to cycle Mount Teide, which is the highest mountain in Europe. That'll be good to get some miles in the legs, but more importantly, it'll be good just to go spend a bit of time with my old man. Get up that mountain, stop for some coffees. Training should be fun training as well as tough. And I think that's where we're at with the training scene right now. Lots to work on, as there is in the business, as there is in the parenting. Because like James said on this podcast, we're all a work in progress, aren't we? And I know I'm definitely a work in progress. So I will be doing some vlogs on the fitness journey. One that I've got for you all that I haven't told anyone yet is I've always struggled from being a kid to get the weight off. And I don't eat bad food, I just eat a lot of food. Maybe because of the stresses of having so many businesses and things to juggle, from all the stuff I do with my kids to Andy's Man Club and all the stress and pressure. Maybe there's a time where probably subconsciously, maybe I still comfort eat or eat more than I should, and maybe that's just habitual from being a kid. But something that I'm really focused on this year is that I've never been below 100 kilograms, ever. My actual mission possible this year, which I haven't told anyone until this episode, is I want to get below 100 kilograms. I'm currently sat around 111 kilograms, 112. I want to get 12 kilograms off. I think if I get below 100 kilograms and get into the double figures, it will make the mission possible so much easier. It'll make running easier, the things on the body. And that often shocks people, that I am 17.5 stone, and my run test the other day in the 5K were sub 21 minutes, and I've run a sub 20 minutes at that weight and a sub 3:30 marathon. Because like Lee said, in my head I've got this dog mentality, which is, that, as I've instilled in my kids, is that when we get to the start line, the job's getting done regardless. There's been times where I know I'm not ready for an event and I might not have started the event, but any time that an Ambler or Roberts steps up to that start line, the job's getting done. So 4 or 5 UK Ironman this year will get done. The 100 kg target will get done because I'm at the start line right now, and a job has to get done. So I want to tell you something else. So I've gone into quite a bit here. There's lots we could go into. I could delve deeper on so many things, from my personal story in life to parenting to business to fitness. And I'm sure that we'll do that through my channel along the way, because there's lots I want to explore. I want to show you more behind the scenes of my business and some of the projects we're working on. I want to show you some of the progress of the kids and where their mentalities are and how they continue long term. I want to show you the fitness journey and take you on some of the journey of the trials and tribulations of that. But if someone was to say, who is Luke Ambler, most people would say the Andy's Man Club guy. It's what I'm known as, and it's something that for a long time I fought really hard to not be, which is a weird thing to not want to be. But I'll tell you a story. When I first started Andy's Man Club, it was real difficult. I did a video on the Halifax Rugby page, and there were a lot of talk about there of different charities doing stuff, nothing to do with Andy's Man Club or mental health, just different stuff. There's always talk about charities and people earning money and wrong reasons. So when I knew that coming to Andy's Man Club, I laid a statement out straight away. This charity will not be about me, it will not be about money, it's about the people that we help. Within 2 weeks of starting, first night, 9 men turned up. Some of you know the story. The week after, 15 men turned up. Then I started a campaign called It's Okay to Talk, and boom, it had reached 100 million people, now categorised one of the biggest mental health movements on the planet. And I've been fortunate to do some cool shit, from meeting Prince Charles at his house, going to Buckingham Palace with my mother-in-law to, as a result of getting a Queen's Award, to an honorary degree, which is phenomenal and mind-blowing, that I'd even be seen, to sitting on a board with our health minister and being an advisor on men's health to our health minister. And I always say that none of these things I care about, because it's not why I set up. Andy's Man Club, or why we set up Andy's Man Club. Andy's Man Club is much deeper, but after setting up Andy's Man Club, I got a lot of negativity, I got a lot of hate, and that was fucking difficult because I'd laid the statement out and I'd said true to them beliefs, and even to this day, I'm voluntary CEO of Andy's Man Club. I'm chair of the organisation, which means you can't make money from it. I have multiple businesses which I'm proud of, and I always used to think when people were saying shit about me on that side, that it took away from the work that I'm putting in over here, as if to say, I'm doing all this work, how can you discredit what I'm doing so hard, even though you don't know about this, I guess, because now you're putting it there, this, and even though we've worked so hard for it to be this beautiful, amazing movement. And at one point I did a video, and I was really honest, and the video was titled Andy's Man Club Nearly Ruined My Life. It put pressure on my relationship, because Andy is the brother of my partner, Lisa, and I was so engulfed, as was Andy's mum, and try to grow this movement and help more men, that it took over our life, and it became this obsession to just help more people. You know, even though we thought what we were doing were great, which it is, and you know, and then there were pressures on my own life because I was doing more things for Andy's Man Club than I was maybe at my business or my other parts of my life, and I just, you know, then I was getting all this shit, and I thought, why am I doing all this stuff for people just to get shit in return? And then there's the saying, and I think I mentioned it on this podcast, that I think it was a Winston Churchill saying that if you stop at every dog that barks, you'll never get anywhere in life. And then there was another saying that if you don't want to get criticism in life, do nothing. If you don't want to get criticism in life, do nothing. The question is do you want to do nothing? I don't. I want to leave a legacy, not just for me, for my kids, for Andy, for everyone. And as I said, I fought so hard, but recently I've been really cool with that. I'm the Andy's Man Club guy. I also have a business. I also am a dad. I'm on Mission Possible for Andy's Man Club. But what a cool thing to be known as. The co-founder of a beautiful movement that helps 6,000 men a week. We've grown it from being this little acorn to this oak tree. And what is that oak tree? That oak tree is now just under 40 full-time staff, of which 30 are guys who walk through our door as users, become facilitators, and now we're area leads. What a phenomenal thing. Other people, ladies who've come through our doors as volunteers and helped out, and now gone all the way up to being general manager of his organisation, another phenomenal thing. And we help 6,000 men a week at our 250 plus groups. And I once said recently that I never really get many pinch me moments, even the big stuff we've done. But one thing that was a complete true and up my pinch me moment was, we had a goal. I came up with this mad goal once to have 10 clubs in 5 years of starting Andy's Man Club. And what ended up happening was, on his 5th birthday, we opened his 50th club, which were just phenomenal, like complete excel. And that's a credit not to me, to all the team, to every single facilitator, volunteer, staff member that has ever opened a door for someone, that has ever put a poster up in a shop or a leaflet or helped raise awareness for this beautiful movement. But then when I had a meeting the other day with our head of group for England and Wales, and he told me that we will be opening over 50 groups in Q1 of this year from January 1st to the 31st of March, it blew me away, just the scale of the momentum that we've got right now, which is coming with ever increasing challenges, because we're running an organisation now as just short of 40 staff, 2,500 regular volunteers. The type of people that we're looking after and that we're helping, they present its own challenges, as does the policies and the systems we've got to create to protect those people. But I think I could speak about Andy's Man Club all day. But I think there's better people to talk about Andy's Man Club. Let's go down to Andy's Man Club. So here we are, the home of Andy's Man Club. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a game of tap in, tap out. Not a lot of staff know this is going to happen, but I'm just going to get people to tap in and tap out, which means they're going to come in 2-3 minutes, tell a bit of a synopsis of their story. I might ask them a question that puts them on the spot. Might help you find a little bit more out about me, given the back of the episode. Let's go find our first tap in and tap out. First tap in, Sabrina Mullins, aka the GM, the boss, the gaffer. She loves speaking on camera, don't you?
Yeah, love it, absolutely.
You've got your 2-minute tap-in, 2 minutes to tell people your journey with Andy's Man Club.
Well, I originally started volunteering for AMC back in 2017. Wasn't meant to stick about as long as I did. I think we had 5-6 clubs at the time. There were just me and Elaine. And it's just excelled from there, really, hasn't it? I've gone from helping on a few emails to office manager to now general manager, and we've got a team of 38 staff that I'm responsible for daily. And
an interesting one for you is that you speak to me more than anyone at AMC.
Yeah.
Positively and negatively, I guess.
Yep.
Is that it? Just yep?
Yep. It's an absolute nightmare.
So, well, on that, I think, what am I like as a leader as well? What am I like to work with at this place?
Yeah, I think the word nightmare does sum it up. But in a positive context, it's stuff gets done when it needs doing. You sort of stick a rocket up everything when it needs doing.
And to finish, before you go get something to tap in, what does AMC mean to you?
Absolutely everything. I think it's just seeing the journey that we've all been on. There's just nothing like it. It's just, makes so much of a difference every day.
Phenomenal. Go tap someone in.
Yeah, can I pick what I want? Yeah, go have a mic.
What am I doing?
Tapping is the big man, Neil Wayne. You don't even know what's going on here. You've just been tapped in. Serena's tapped out, you've tapped in. Tell everyone in a 2-minute story your AMC journey from walking through the door to the rest without me giving too much away.
Wow, that's a lot in 2 minutes, isn't it? 6.5 years ago, broken man, literally saved my life. Met you in Huddersfield at an event as well, and I think that was the first time I was thrown under the bus, to be honest. Did a bit of a chat on the steps there. Done bus tours since, open groups since. Started working for AMC 4 and a bit years ago. It's just bonkers, brilliant, life-changing. It's a great platform to reintroduce yourself to a different world. Mine's been a shambles for a long time, and over the last 6 years, I'm back.
Love that.
I'm back.
And you know what's your role now at Andy's Man Club?
I'm head of groups for England and Wales.
And I talked about a conversation we had earlier, because it was my first probably pinch me moment. We sat upstairs in a coffee shop, and you told me what's happening first quarter of this year.
Yeah, we're going to be opening 50 new groups in first quarter, which after opening 50 in first 5 years, that's progression, isn't it?
Question I'm asking for a bit of fun. What's it like working with me?
Chaos. Chaos in the best way. And to be fair, I think I sent you some other week.
It's a common theme happening here. None of these know this is getting asked.
On a message, I sent you some other week about I like the openness and the honesty. I think sometimes it's brutal, but I think in the best possible way. And, there's no to hide on these, is there? I think me and you have crossed paths a couple of times, and what I like is you're allowed to have an opinion, get your opinion out, it's listened to, doesn't have to be agreed with. It's the fact that you're allowed to be heard, and then when you are agreed with, stuff gets actioned, and you all feel part of something special and something that you can make a difference in.
And what does Andy's Man Club mean to you?
Just transformed everything for me. It's when you walk in every day, you're doing it with a purpose, and I think that's, if you've got a purpose in it, you enjoy doing it and you want to give more to it.
Tap out, big man, that were awesome.
Sorted. Cheers, buddy. Time to go tap in with Mr. Ambler.
Alright. How's that doing? Alright, eh?
Tap in. Lucas, you've got 2 minutes to have a bit about your Andy's Man Club journey. This might be a challenge for you.
Yeah.
This might be your mission possible.
Try my hardest to keep it concise. I'm only bloke who works for... Fuck me, I need to wear it, don't I? There we go. Right.
This is our market manager.
Tell everyone your story, it might be our 2 minutes.
My journey's probably slightly different to other people's because I didn't actually attend a group before I started working for charity. My first group I attended were on my first night in job in January 2021. I thought it was going to be a room full of weirdos and really sort of narrow-minded and judgmental about it. Turned out to be a load of bollocks. Went in, got everything I needed to off my chest and started on, a really big journey of self-improvement for myself. Started off as a marketing and comms champion, flunked my way through the first 6 months, probably nearly lost my job, but then managed to turn things around and now I head up the marketing and partnerships department for the charity.
Absolutely smashed it, haven't you?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Man City, Hallmark,
did
some big things, haven't you?
Yeah, but it keeps going, it's one of those, at the end of the day, we're still not really making as much of a dent on those suicide numbers as we want to, are we? So, we keep going with it, and hopefully, we want to not exist eventually. That's the goal, isn't it?
2 questions on the spot. What's it like working with me?
Good. Like, to be completely honest, you get honesty. You don't always know where you stand. It can be chaotic at times, but it's only chaotic because you can feel the passion. And I think the thing is, very quickly at this place, like you get to know that everybody's passionate. Everyone's got their own reasons for being passionate, and we all feed off each other. There's obviously times where we want to throttle you, but other than that, definitely. But the majority of the time, it's good. It's really, really good. And it's it's the healthiest relationship I've had with somebody who's managed me ever, I think.
Love that. And finally, what does AMC mean to you?
It means opportunity and it means hope, to be fair. I think for me, as somebody who's, I've struggled to actually find acceptance a lot of the time before, and I've quite often looked for it in wrong places. And AMC's given me that acceptance, given me that hope. And it's also empowered me, to be fair, to become a better person, And I think what it does, it really makes you self-reflect and really makes you look at yourself in the mirror, look at how you can improve and what you can take forward. It's not just a charity, it's not just a workplace, like it is fully a way of life.
Love that. It's probably getting office whispers now, so it won't be as much a surprise, but tap out and then go tap someone in.
Sound? All right.
Come sit down on your couch, Ollie. Tap in.
How we doing? You all right?
It's real simple, mate. Tell people in 2 minutes your AMC journey.
It's been long. Is that long enough? No, it's
A bit longer than Emma's, that one.
It's all started nearly 10 years ago, I guess, when I was in the lowest point I've been in my life. I had to take some time out of work to deal with my mental health. I've been to the doctors, and it was during that time that I was off work that first Andy's Man Club session was held. And it was just what I needed.
What fruit donut first night?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Nobody knew what to expect. You didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I came down with a mate who had encouraged me to come. And we just talked, didn't we? Just all sat there and told our story of why we were there. And I've never felt anything to this day as powerful as what I felt that night. And I knew at that point that I wanted to help spread that as far and wide as possible. And here we are, 9 years later, after being a facilitator for 4 years. Now worked here for 4.5 years.
In different roles. Tell people about your different roles.
Lots of different roles, yeah.
From where you are now.
I started off looking after the east half of the UK, which was absolutely ridiculous, really, when you look back on it. Travelling all over the country, pretty much 5 days a week, and building up those areas so that we could take on extra staff in those areas in the East Coast, in the South East, on the South Coast, in the South West. And now we've got a team of 20 odd area leads across the UK, doing those individual bits. And I'm office based again, and
doing what now?
The head of training, development and technology. I feel like a bit of a caged animal sometimes because I like being out on the road, but get out and about in other ways, so it's all good.
2 more questions. One being, what's it like working with me?
An absolute whirlwind. You never know what's coming. Whilst I've known you for long enough to have some sort of understanding of how your brain works. There's never really any fully understanding it because it works a lot faster and in different ways than I'd say most people. But yeah, trying to stay ahead of the curve whilst having lots of curveballs thrown at you on a regular basis is challenging. But I won't have it any other way, mate. So
we've had whirlwind, chaos, nightmare. We've had lots of interesting analogies.
Nightmare.
Sabrina.
Yeah.
She did a good nightmare though, so that might be in a dream.
One that you wake up from.
Yes. So finally, what does Andy's Man Club mean to you?
You know what it means? People say it all the time, but it literally means everything to me. Since I came to Andy's Man Club, my life's changed dramatically from being in a position where I had next to nothing to building myself up in terms of not just myself, my confidence, but also building up those people around me, building a family around me, having a secure job, having my own home, all things that I didn't have at the start of Andy's Man Club. So I'm not saying Andy's Man Club's given me all those things, but without the support that I've received here, I wouldn't have been able to build that version of myself.
Love that. Tap out.
Yes, mate. Julie, I've got a present for you.
What do I want that for?
You tell me.
Do I need my glasses? Do I need to see?
I've got a present for you,
Is
Sasha.
it?
So we've had 2 tap-ins this time before we're coming towards the end of this segment. So ladies, I'm going to ask you both a question. You can answer it. First thing is tell people your AMC journey within 2 minutes.
So I started on the admin team, and then an opportunity came up with marketing and partnerships, and I went for that and absolutely love it.
What sort of stuff do you do now day to day?
Meetings, emails for Lucas, and just the general getting the name out there.
Now it'll be interesting. What's it like working with Lucas?
With Lucas. That's my boss.
What's it like?
It's a learning curve.
Yes.
He is a really good guy and he's fun, and I think we just have to figure out how we both best work, and now it's really good.
Chaos.
It's a good kind of chaos.
See that? There's an interesting theory in that.
I saw an opportunity for the job and applied. And I work in admin, do all sorts of different bits within the admin role, fundraising, pots, sending all the things out to the facilitators and the clubs, answering emails, sending emails to guys also about presentations to the workplace and all things like that.
Smashing it, both of you, out here. 2 questions, real quick ones. What's it like working with me? And the second one being, I'll tell you the second one in a minute. Have a think of that.
Well, working with you, it's like a creative tornado, I'm going to say. I think you come in with so many different ideas, kind of want them done then and there, but then you'll sit, think about it with everyone and have a chat, and yeah, we'll come up with some great ideas.
Love it.
I just love it when you come to office because you bring a lot of energy, a lot of fun, and I really find that everybody just bounces off your energy. I
Love
think
that.
it's great.
Love that one. And what about what Annie's Man Club means to you?
It means a massive amount to me. I've got 3 older brothers, my dad, uncles, and my son Malika, and just knowing that something out there for him when he's old enough is just a great thing to know.
Love that.
Unfortunately, AMC went around when I lost my brother, so it's just lovely to be part of something and try and help all the guys out there.
Love that. Ladies, been a pleasure. Tap out. There's a common theme with the last 2 people coming. There seems to be a common theme that I am a good chaos. I am a good tornado. It's been a bit of an interesting one. Maybe I have
his
this
sauna?
energy, but you maybe not always see that on social media.
Can't even remember what I was saying.
I do like to have fun.
Oh, I will.
Joe, coming
Where's
in.
it go?
Tap in. Don't worry, just hold it. Tap in here. Sit down, Joe. Joe, tell everyone about your journey with Andy's Man Club. 2 minutes.
So I've followed Andy's Man Club since the beginning. Couldn't do anything to help. I wanted to volunteer, but my workload just didn't give me the chance to. And then I saw an advert come up in 2019, end of 2019. Applied for it. Wasn't successful in the beginning, and then got a phone call in the November to say, do I still want to give it a go? So, and here I am, 6 years on.
And how's that been for you over the last 6 years? What do you do now? Are you still doing the same job, or has it progressed?
I'm still in admin, but I now head up admin, so that's been...
And we've just had a couple of your team members on here. You've been phenomenal in leading them over the last 3-4 years now, haven't you?
that have now moved on to do other things
As
because, they've felt the confidence to do that.
So 2 final questions. What's it like working with me?
Hectic, can be disruptive, but we get the jobs done, don't we? You know,
Yes.
there's the encouragement there as well, so we get everything done.
And what does Andy's Man Club mean to you now you've been here 6-7 years?
Oh God, just means everything to, well, not just to me, to those men out there, but it also, like, when we're struggling in here as well, even me, we can turn to anybody in here and it's like a family, and you know, we just support each other, so.
Love that. Tap out, Joe. Go get the last person you can find. Luke, come in, sit down.
What have I done wrong?
You've got double Luke. Tap in, mate. You've got double Luke on couch today. Luke, in 2 minutes, tell people you're on his Man Club story.
2 minutes. I have been dealing with a lot of anxiety before Andy's Man Club. I was in a high pressure sales role. I was going through a 4.5 year court battle. The person that I used to go to was my dad. Unfortunately, my dad passed away to COVID and I lost that person that I could go to. It took me 3 months to get through the door of an Andy's Man Club because I used to drive there, go, this is not for me. drive off, go to McDonald's, and then tell my wife that I went. And on the 1st of March, it was one guy who saw me about to drive off. Some guy knocked on my window and said, "Keep seeing you here, get yourself in." And at that point I thought, don't even swear, crap. I went, shit, I've been caught. So walked in, and it took me a while to talk, but I got to question 3 and I just thought I'm going to give him 20 seconds because I had the pressure of the ball, and I was there for 15 minutes, just aired everything out, and the rest is history.
And you now do what?
I'm now the area lead for a lot of places. It was great. It was in the northwest, and now it's a lot of parts of Great Manchester and now East Midlands.
Because Luke is exceptional at opening new clubs, and we saw an area in the Midlands that needed support along with Dan Rowe, and we sent the 2 big hitters in there to go and open some doors, and they came up with Project 50. Dan had this mad idea for Project 50, which is 50 clubs at Midlands from a standing start, and he's just smashing it already, aren't you?
Yeah. 2 clubs already open, 1 opening in a couple of weeks' time, and I've got 4 or 5 clubs pretty much lined up.
Ready to go. 2 questions. What's it like working with me?
Fun, interesting. You come out with these crazy ideas, but then these crazy ideas turn out to be brilliant ideas. And it, truthfully, and I'm not trying to like kiss your ass or anything, but you are one of the best managers, bosses that I've had, because you actually understand things and actually give that time to your employees. So there you go.
Well, I love that. You could have given me a lot of shit then.
I could have.
The reason I want to finish with Luke is because this year we're talking about Mission Possible. Luke rang me one day and said, "I've had an idea. I want to do a Mission Possible. I don't run it all at the minute. I know it's not just about fitness, but I'm turning 40, and I want to run 40 official runs before that. And then every week now, he sends me his park run times, which I loved getting them messages.
You didn't get one this Saturday because I've injured my foot, and I did about 2k and I was in pain, so I thought, yeah, I'm not taking that as a.
And you've signed up to some bigger challenges now, haven't you? You're not just 5k park runs, but have you got locked in this year?
Well, Facebook is the devil because I keep seeing running things on my thing and signing up to these things. So I've now signed up to the Great Birmingham Run, Great Manchester Run, a Swifty Run, which is a Taylor Swift themed run, which I've only signed up because my daughter likes it.
Don't lie, it's for you.
My daughter likes a medal, and I'm actually just running to give her a medal. And then I'm doing the Great North Run, which is a half marathon, and I'm doing the Oldham Halloween half, which is again half marathon.
Love it. Finally, to wrap up, what does Andy's Man Club mean to you?
Everything. It's changed my life. Before Andy's Man Club, I was a very, very angry man, and it's literally changed my life completely.
Tap out. Awesome, mate. I forgot about someone. We've got a lot of people on today, but we're going to go see this guy. Come on. Tom, tap in.
What's happening?
Tap in, Tom. Tom, a couple of questions for you. Put you on the spot here. First one is tell people your Andy's Man Club story in 2 minutes.
I walked through the door of Dewsbury Andy's Man Club after not wanting to be here anymore. And it was the best thing I'd ever done in my entire life, bar my children. It changed my life, it saved my life, and I'm so thankful for what it's done for me.
What do you do here now at Andy's Man Club?
I work as organisational support, which main job is sending biscuits out to different clubs and looking after the needs of what they need. And
it's not just biscuits. Tom looks at you. If you looked at this room, which we might not show you, we'll show you. Go on, show them this room. There's leaflets, posters, there's all sorts of stuff going on in here. So, Tom, what's it like working with me?
Shit. No.
He's the only honest one here.
No, it is. It's sort of like a good chaotic. These wacky ideas, what you think at the time, get thrown in there, and before you know it, they're done. They're in front of you. I talked about the bus tour. It was an idea, and I think within 6 weeks it was sorted, and we were picking numbers for the bus. So yeah, it's a good chaotic, fun. It's like a roller coaster, and I can't wait to be on it for a long time.
So while you're on that roller coaster, tell us what Andy's Man Club means to you.
Everything. It means I'm now a good father, where I can switch on and be more there for my kids. Finding Andy's Man Club and it helping me, I went on to have 2 more children and gain 2 stepchildren. So I've got a chaotic house of 5 now, and if it weren't for Andy's Man Club, my kids wouldn't have that dad anymore.
Glad to do, mate. I'm glad we've got you as well, because Tom is one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. If you ever come in Andy's Man Club, get a biscuit, have a game of darts with Tom. He's phenomenal. Tap out. End of season 1, and I thought it'd be a little bit fun to take you in here. I wasn't necessarily sure what everyone would say. It was a great opportunity. Maybe they wouldn't have all said it's shit, and maybe they've all been a little bit nicer than they might be behind my back. But a common theme that kept coming up there was chaos, energy, crazy ideas, and often using this platform on my socials, I'm a little bit more serious. My wife always tells me that. Lisa always says, I think on your socials don't represent who you are. You are very serious, and often try to tell a message where Tom will back that up, and everyone else. I like to have fun more than I like to do anything else. I'm constantly having banter, constantly joking. So to hear their versions of that good chaos, that whirlwind, I love it when I'm coming up with ideas to help this place grow. I love it when you're coming up with crazy ideas, and as other people said, letting people be part of them ideas, whether it be a bus tour, whether it be some new posters, or whether it be doing something like Mission Possible and try to encourage people to find their possible. If you take anything away from today, I hope it is that you have to dare to dream. You have to dare to be courageous enough to take that step to doing what you want, and understanding, like I said earlier, that we're all a work in progress. Andy's Man Club's a work in progress. Luke Campbell's a work in progress. I just did that third person thing again. That's cringer. I'm a work in progress, as is Mission Possible, as is me as a father. So until next series, stay well. Goodbye.